Good evening, Mallards. It's Wednesday, and Megan and I are about to do an interactive Zoom show called Return the Moon. This show is created by Third Rail Projects, who are behind an installation in New York called Then She Fell, which was sort of an immersive retelling of Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland, like inspired whole wander through a physical space, interact with characters in an insane asylum, and a whole bunch of Wonderland-esque sort of stuff. A show that I was really, really interested in, and something that I had wanted to see, but just wasn't plausible for me. But I'm very excited now to try this, mostly because I want to experience it, and also because I want to see how a group that is like touted for doing the stuff that they do does a Zoom show. Megan and I are in separate rooms on separate computers so that we can experience different things. And I might report to you during the show, but I will definitely report back at the end with Megan with our thoughts. What did you think of Return the Moon?
I liked it. Mm-hmm. It was very much my aesthetic and my type of story, which means that I am quick to be able to criticize it because I've written similar things that are worse and similar things that are different, and also done similar things that are different, mm-hmm. and filmed things that it was very like cinematic, especially at the end, in like an cinematic experimental film way, which was effective for me sometimes and not effective for me other times. Mm-hmm. But overall, really enjoyable experience, and you can't make every person think everything that you do in an experimental section is gonna be super effective. So
I would agree with that. Yeah. It was way more meditative than I had thought it would be. Because from the description, I had like anticipated a slightly different energy. Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed it. The first thing they do is break you up mm-hmm. into breakout rooms. So Megan and I separated, mm-hmm. and we're doing the same thing, and we're guided the same way, and it's sort of scripted. But I do think that the personality of the person that you end up with is interesting. Also, Megan mentioned something that her person like built a little village, and like sort of. Your person had like little houses.
No, my person just had the one thing.
Oh, okay.
That everyone had, I think, the same pieces because mm-hmm. they used them later. But just the house with the candle.
Yes.
But mine was the one that was framed the best, in my opinion. That was like the house and the candle pretty close. Mm-hmm. And I would have liked to just like keep watching that for the whole time they were telling the story because they had their screens all black.
Yeah, and I get that they want you to like imagine the story, but I get a little bit lost and drifty if there's no visual stimuli at all.
I put on a visual, like, hypnotic background on YouTube.
Like, when I'm reading a book, that's the visual stimuli. When I'm listening to a podcast, I'm usually driving, so that's, I just can't, like, just
my
the darkness.
eyes to unfocus, but on, like, nothingness, so I did that. I had a lot of ideas. I took quite a few notes during, like, the facilitation part, especially because how they facilitated it gave me a lot of ideas for how to make it a little more narrative, because it was more of a discussion and then a narrative.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. What cracked me up is, so the story is about a time when the moon was gone and like what happened to get it back. And they started this whole story, and I was like, and then a fairy flew all the way to the moon, because that is
really, really read like what the villagers did while Destiny went and saved the moon in the Stardust adventure that I wrote for Winter in Stardust Kingdom.
Yeah.
And it was really,
that was really
quite
fun.
Funny.
But we had a very enjoyable time. I would recommend that. It just started its run. Literally, tonight was the first night. Yeah. They've had some beta shows, but tonight was opening night. And so if you have a chance, they have subsidized tickets that are only $15. They're not available to every show, but if you go and look, they're available to most shows, and it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah. Also, you can definitely do it with two people at one computer.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
So we did them separately, but I think it would be a great date night activity go to it with another person if you're seeing people in person and you want to do that.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Like, we just weren't sure what level it was going to be, so we wanted to, like, be separate in case it was very different experiences. But definitely be together. Check it out. Link down there. And I'll see you tomorrow.